So, Arteta's excited. Is former Arsenal striker Alan Smith? Let's find out if he is. Good to see you, Alan, as always. Look, he was pretty bullish, wasn't he, about Arsenal's summer plans? How big, though, do they need to go if they are to be winners and not challengers?
Yeah, I mean, he's talking about the final step, Vicky, isn't he? And that final step's always the hardest. And as he insinuated there, the most expensive. Probably in this case, because they need a top-class centre-forward. And they don't come cheap, as we know. That is the missing jigsaw piece, I think, in the puzzle. But also, as he said again, he wants to increase the quality of the squad in terms of numbers when you're fighting on several fronts. And we've seen with a few injuries that they have suffered. They haven't had a strong enough squad. But yeah, it's all about that centre forward, really, or most of it is about that centre forward and who they're going to get.
Yeah, I mean, there are reports, of course, that they've got this strong interest in Sporting striker Victor Gyokeres. Is he the man they need, do you think, to take them to that next level?
I think he's the sort of profile, yeah. He's young. He's obviously scoring goals very regularly for Sporting Lisbon. So you would imagine that kind of profile, age group, is what Arsenal would be after. Getting him might be a little bit more difficult. I think we all thought when Ruben Amorim went to Manchester United, oh, he'll be going to Old Trafford as well to join his old manager. And, you know, I think the landscape's changed on that one with Manchester United not being in the Champions League. So that might open things up for Arsenal a little bit. But I'm sure they've got not just one target, but one, two or three perhaps, if the first one breaks down. But yeah, they know they've got to get their act together in the summer.
Yeah, let's explore that a bit, because obviously they've confirmed Andrea Berta, haven't they, as their new sporting director. Big shoes to fill, you'd have to say, with Edu going prior to Christmas. You know, is that priority, finding a top-class striker? And when they say they're going to spend big, should they go all out for it and try and sign Alexander Isak?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about Isak in terms of his position at Newcastle and whether Newcastle would want to sell to a rival. Obviously, financially, they don't have to, although with PSR and the like, you never quite know. I mean, yeah, he'd fit in at the Emirates, no question about it. Technically, he's such a good player, as well as being such a great goal scorer. So, yeah, the Arsenal fans would welcome him. But, yeah, I mean, the new man, Andrea Berta, it's going to be fascinating to see how he does his business, who he brings in to the football club. I'm sure even before signing on the dotted line at Arsenal, he knows who he would like. And there's all sorts of targets out there. He's got great contacts. And I think his emphasis at Atleti, Vicky, has always kind of erred on the side of strikers, you know, and he's had a lot of success, not always, but the likes of Griezmann, who he brought to the club. Samu now, the young lad, the 20-year-old who's gone to Porto and pulling up trees. Hasn't always been successful. João Felix, he brought in for over 100 million, and that fell flat on its face. But, yeah, he's highly experienced, and Arteta will be, you know, shifting it over to you. Yeah, see who you can bring in to take that extra step for Arsenal.
Is there anyone you've got your eye on and you think, hang on a minute, he'd really suit Arsenal and he'd come in, hit the ground running and get them these trophies that they really need?
Well, I think when you're talking about coming into a top Premier League club, it always helps if you know the league and the standards and what's expected. So, I mean, Isak obviously is somebody that wouldn't need much adjustment, Vicky. But, you know, getting him out of St James's Park might be a bit harder. Gyokeres has played in the Championship for Coventry. So, you know, the physical aspect, I don't think, would be too difficult for him. So for me, those two would be top of the shopping list, I think.
Will this put more pressure, though, on Arteta, do you think? You know, if they do spend big, does that mean they have to win a trophy next season?
Well, yeah, I mean, the pressure's been on him, but it would ramp up a good few notches if they spent 100 plus on a striker and it doesn't happen. As I said, most of the other pieces are in place, need a little bit more strength in depth. But, yeah, he knows the situation, been there 5 years, finished second 3 times on the trot, it looks like being now. So yeah, it sounds like they've got good money to spend. You know, he wouldn't be so bullish in his press conference talking about going big if he knew he hadn't got the funds. So, you know, all eyes on Arsenal in the summer.
Yeah. The record with or without Saka is actually surprisingly similar, but obviously it's clear to see from everyone he's such a big miss, isn't he, in the attacking areas. In your opinion, is he their most important player right now?
Well, I think going forward now, he probably is. You know, Martin Odegaard, the captain, has always been important, but you look at his goal return this season and his assists, and it has been a disappointment. Saka obviously can always get you a goal. He's got a really good scoring record, and also what he gives that attack in terms of attracting defenders, creating space for others, and he would help Odegaard certainly in terms of freeing up a little bit of space, and they've got a good relationship together as well. So definitely in an attacking sense. Obviously the defenders, you know, Gabriel and Saliba are really important for that